A lot of them are getting better. We've been meeting with a lot of the lending institutions for them to understand that you have a properly designed rainwater system that's actually better than a well. So you need to do that early on. I've known people, when the banks come out to check, as their house is being built, they said, well, where's your well? Well, we don't have one. Uh-oh. No, you're going to have to find your money somewhere else. Well, that's ridiculous, but it still goes on. And then the other one is check with your electric co-op. It took us 10 months to get electricity to our house because it was their policy that you had to have a well first before they would bring the electricity. So we built quite a bit of the house on generators. And, you know, I told them, I said, that's your policy. But policies can change. Well, they have changed now. And as long as you can show them that it's reasonable size cisterns and how many people can be in the house, they'll approve it. But it just, you know, it blew my mind that we couldn't get electricity. Okay, rainwater harvesting references is the manual I showed y'all, and then we've got the Texas Rainwater Catchment Association's track on, and that's www.texrca.org. And for those of you that are interested, next March the 12th and 13th in Kerrville, we're going to have our second annual Rainwater Harvesting Conference. So there'll be a lot of stuff there. It'll be interesting to see. Okay. Okay, I thought there was one that said, in summary, with a properly designed system, you can have all the water you need for domestic needs in your home. So I'm open to questions, and I don't know how much more time do we have. We got 5 minutes. So if y'all have questions, I'll try to answer them. If not, we can go on. Yes, sir.
Your pipes go underground and go back up to the system.
Yeah.
On that leader valve, that is running off its ground. Just try to dig down lower.
Oh, what I did, the question was, the pipes, my feed pipes from the roof go down to the gutters, they go all underground. And then before I get to my first flush, they pop up out of the ground. What you're doing is, I'm building up enough head and the downspout pipes are all sealed, and I can force the water out. This question is, I went with a jackhammer and jackhammered and found the pipes on the ground. I tapped into them with a bleeder valve, and then after it rained, like yesterday evening, I bled my valve. I don't waste the water. Some of it goes to some new trees and plants, some goes to some bushes down the road. But yeah, you need to have that bleeder valve to get rid of that water in there so it doesn't go stale. You had another?
Do the banks or electric co-op provide any logic on why they want to install the financing out of well?
Well, no, that's what I told them. You need to change your policy. Since then, I've sat down with them, and now, as long as you can show them the size of your cisterns and the roofs, they'll sign off on it. Yes, sir. I can't.
I understand your statement about all the filtration that take place before it gets to your tank, but for the gallon of water that's been sitting there in your tank for a year, you're going to use for cooking or drinking, or do any additional filtration.
Okay, he's saying, basically what he's saying is, the water that we have stored in the tanks for, well, I've got some water stored in the tanks for 6 years. It is still, and I test it every now and then for bacteria, just for the heck of it. But as long as they're sealed, the mosquitoes can't get in there, and the light can't get in there to grow algae, the water stays good. I don't recirculate or anything. Yes, sir?
Do you worry about the PVC or the poly liners leaching into the water?
No, everything is food grade. Everything in these systems, the liners are food grade, so are these tanks. On the side of the tanks it says water only. They're not made for chemicals or anything else. Now these first flush tanks, these little 55-gallon barrels that I have, they're food grade also. And the two that I have, one of them had, I think, Dr. Pepper syrup in it, because it smells sweet for a long time. The others that you get now, they come from Spain, and when you open them up, boy, they're strong. Olives come in it, but in the olives, some of them have garlic and some have jalapeno. So they have a strong smell. You just have to wash them out. But they're all food grade. You don't want anything that had oil or chemicals in it.
Does you use gravity in your system, or do you have pumps?
No, mine's gravity.
Okay.
All until it gets in the pump where it comes back to the house. Everything is gravity.
How much pressure is coming from a gravity-fed tank from a 20,000-gallon tank?
I don't worry about the pressure because from the tanks, the cisterns, I go into my pump house where there's a booster pump. That's what brings the water to the house.
Well, that's what I was saying. If you didn't have electricity, you have any gravity-fed pressure coming out of
The new tanks that I put in my workshop, they're slightly uphill. Yeah, I would have. In fact, this week the electricity was out for about 6 hours. And in the pump house, when I put it together, I plugged the pump into the wall rather than hardwired it. That's what I did. I set my generator there and just plugged it in and we had water. Otherwise, we'd have been out of water for half a day. Yes, ma'am.
In what type of situation would it be desirable to have multiple tanks rather than one large tank?
The situation's in your mind. Like, I like the redundancy of having multiple tanks. It's more expensive. It's more expensive and it takes up more room. Like 3 polycore tanks cost as much as one 20,000-gallon metal tank. You know, but then, I was worrying, well, if something happened to one tank, I'd lose all the water. Well, I don't know that that happens. It's mainly what you want, but the single tank takes up less room. See, I went down the side of the hill about 20 feet and did a pad. You had to get a big ram, about a 100-foot long pad, and all my tanks are sitting there. One of the things you want to do is whenever you put it in, leave a stub because you're going to add tanks. Invariably, that's what happens. Somebody, that's me.
What's best to use for your pad?
It depends what kind of tank. Some tanks require a concrete base, so that's it. The others, smooth dirt is fine. I put down 6 inches of base material and then I put sand on top of it, and mine are sitting on sand. One thing you got to watch, if you're in an area where water could trickle underneath these tanks, it'll start running to the river that's under there. And that's happened to mine. What I did is pump grout back up underneath there. These new tanks that I put in, I put base down and then I mixed cement, stirred it all up, re-leveled it, wet it down and tamped it. So it's basically a concrete base. But if you don't have to worry with that, leave it alone. Yes, sir.
Do the tanks sweat?
Do the tanks sweat? I have seen them on a morning when it's cool and the tanks are warm, they'll sweat. But normally you don't see sweat on them. Just like this morning, it's not raining, but I was collecting water. I could hear it running down the gutters just from humidity condensation. I can collect maybe 80 gallons of water just out of condensation. That's a day's use of water right there. Yes, sir.
Workshops over in Bernie?
Yeah, we do a workshop every month in the Civil Nature Center in Bernie. The next one I think is October the 17th, if that's a Saturday. In November it'll be the last one we do this year, and then we'll start again in February. But you can get on there by calling the Civil Nature Center. And if you want their phone number, it's 830-249-4616. And I think they charge $30 a person. I don't get it. They do. I'm doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right here.
Okay. Oh, you got a question over here? Yes, sir.
Not to use copper pipes in the new construction?
It's better not to.
What kind of pipe?
Well, in our house, we've got what's called contact. There's a new name for it now. But it's an aluminum tube that's got PVC inside and outside. So there's no metal contact in any of our system except, you saw where the ultraviolet light was? There's 2 little flexible stainless steel flex hoses there. But yeah, we don't have any metal in our system.
What's the name of that pipe you use?
It was contact, and there's a new name for it. It's the same stuff. But just tell them contact. And it comes in blue and red or blue and orange. The orange is the hot water and the blue is the cold water in your slab, so you know when you build your house. So you don't get mixed up. Yes, sir.
Would there be any way to hand make a tank and then line it with something that's food grade?
Yeah.
Plywood or something?
Actually, I recommend if you've got a concrete tank, there's food grade sprays In fact, if you'll go over here in Sustainable Homes, there's a guy that sprays it, and he can do that. Yeah,
So you build out of concrete and then you line it with spray.
you spray line it, yeah. See, because the rainwater, again, it's pure, and it starts leaching the stuff out of the concrete. You know, mostly when you build these rain tanks, they put grout there, and they usually ooze and leak for a while, and they stop. Well, the reason they stop is the well water's got so much lime in it that it plugs the hose. Well, when it's rainwater, it's just optional.
How about something like above ground pool like that you consider?
Sure.
Right?
In fact, I've seen people do that, put a cover over one of these swimming pools down the backyard.
They're pretty expensive.
Sure good fire protection. Okay, that's all. Thank you all for coming.